Welcome back to the Sing Your Heart Song Summit Day 3! Woo, woo, woo! Day 3. Oh my gosh, so much juicy gems throughout this week. And the fun still continues. So the fun continues. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you Jan Robberts. So Jan Robberts is known as a global influencer and self-leadership strategist. He is the co-founder of Key Leadership Institute and the founder of JRS Speakers Club. It's all based in South Africa and Scotland. In addition, Jan is an international leadership keynote speaker, coach, behavioral analysis consultant, and a values-based leadership specialist. For his talk today, he is going to present on time to step up. Welcome, Jan.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this privilege and the pleasure of being on part of this 3-day amazing Sing Your Heart Song conference summit, even online summit. And it's, as you pointed out already right at the beginning, it is a global summit because there's people from all over the world taking part. And you know, when I listen to this music, if the music already doesn't make your heart sing, what will? Because, and I know this because my parents many years ago had a music shop when we still had those records. For those that are too young, that those were these black round things that you put on a record player. They come back again, but we were brought up in a music shop. We were, even as a family, we were just like the Von Trapp family, because every one of us was part of a choir as well. And my dad is 85 next month, and he still sings in a choir because, again, that's one of the things that makes his heart sing. And I'm very privileged in many ways because my dad, he's 85 and he still works now. Don't be too harsh on him and think that he has to. No, he works because he loves what he does. What he does makes his heart sing. And I think it's a great example for me right on my doorstep, even though I'm now in South Africa and my dad's in Scotland, so not exactly the virtual doorstep at the moment. But you know, to see how much he still enjoys what he does. And I know it keeps him alive and kicking and very well. So I'm blessed not only to see that we still got both him. My mom turned 81 this month as well, but the fact that he is thriving in all he does. So for me, that was very important. And you know, to take you on that journey of a little bit about my history is when I was a little kid. I was actually not so little because I was as wide as I was tall, and I got bullied for it. Now that on the outside, people thought my heart was singing from the outside because I was the class clown and was always funny. But on the inside, nah, not so much so. I was miserable, but I never wanted to show it to people. I don't know how that happened, that I decided not to show it to people. But, you know, what really happened in that time was that I wanted to serve because I wanted to belong. You know, sometimes peer pressure is bad, but my peer pressure, because it was my peers, my friends who were calling me all these horrible names, and but I still wanted to belong. So I served a lot. I wanted to do anything and everything I could to fit in. Now, I know there's many youngsters today are still, they can still familiarize with that. But the thing is, in a way, I felt privileged and lucky because I could go back to my bedroom at nighttime and hide. Now, with modern technology, like cyberbullying, there is no hiding place anymore. So I feel even more for the young people today. And when it first came across, because I talk about bullying as well, and I don't let the bullies win. And I thought, well, why don't they switch those mobile phones off then if they don't want to see it? But you know what? As we know, when it's out there, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the damage that gets done, they say more than 50% of youth, by the time they leave full-time education, they've been involved in bullying, either side or even both sides. Because I know kids who moved to a different school and they became the bully after they be bullied because they found out, you know, nobody's helping me, get in there first. And I used to have with my best friends, again, another blessing that I've got 3 or 4 best friends, which my best friends have now had over 40 years. So I got them when I was 2, of course. But it was such an amazing experience when we used to talk about this and said, you know, when we were younger, we would just catch the bully and kick the living daylight out of him. Now, that is no answer either. And that's no answer to stop it, because I quite often know that a bully's heart doesn't sing, a bully's heart bleeds. and they need help too, but they don't know, and quite often there is no way to help them. So I was quite fortunate. At age 12, I grew this height. Now you can't see it because I'm sitting down, but I'm 6'4", and I'm a Dutchman originally, and we are a tall nation. So the bullying stopped. The bullying stopped from other people because they didn't dare call me lanky. I was one of the tallest kids in the school. But the bullying in here carried on. You know, we always talk about how we take luggage along, and some of that luggage or all of that luggage can stop our heart sing. And for many people it does, because they have no way to find a way to find out how can. I mean, there is so much in life that has to be happening. We all have a destiny. We talk about purpose and destiny. We've all got one. And there is not a good book in the world, it doesn't matter where you come from, says that we need to live a miserable life. In fact, it says the opposite. Live your best life possible. Now, when you add to that there is no computer or no person has yet found out how powerful our minds are. Yet we live within our own limitations, and we always look at things and say we cannot. Should we not change that and say, how can we? You know, and it's also about going from fixed mindset to growth mindset, but how can we? And then if it's wrong, okay, let's make a few mistakes, and we call that experience. And unfortunately, those things come after we do something, but we don't want to do them anymore because all the things that happened to us. But you know, it went on, and I worried for a while. So at 16, I had an ulcer. Now, in my day, when I was younger, the only people who used to get ulcers was busy professionals and stressed out professionals and all this, but not teenagers. So at 17, I decided already that I did not want to live the rest of my life like that. I wanted to live, because that's one thing. There is a lot of people who walk around, even more so today, for all kinds of reasons, which some of them we know, they walk around with suicidal tendencies and suicidal thoughts. And that is a disaster that we can't get away from. And we need to let our heart sing for them. We need to make sure that our heart is in the right place for them, to catch them when they fall, to listen to them when they need somebody to talk to. Because I had nobody, I didn't even know as a kid how I could talk to somebody. Yes, they've got all these people now, psychologists and all these amazing people who do great work. But most people are, at any age, are worried that they cannot talk to them, that they cannot open their hearts. And when they can't open their hearts, it stays closed, and it gets heavier all the time until one day it's too much, and then the suicide rate is going up dramatically. But at 17, I decided I can't live like this. So when I made that decision, somebody handed me a personal development book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, nothing happens by coincidence. And I found that out later on. My friend and mentor, Les Brown, he has got a saying for that. He says, there is no such thing as coincidence. He says, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're religious, spiritual, or you believe in something bigger than yourself. Look at it whichever way you want, but you will find something in there that, and when I look back even from my bullying days, that serving, I serve now because that's what makes my heart sing, and we'll come to that. But I started developing, and I got that book. And then at the same time, I started martial arts as well, which is Ki Aikido. And strangely enough, it's all about mind power, mind over matter. Somebody once says, well, if I smack you in the face and you don't mind, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that, by the way. No, the development of the mind, it was really personal development 101. And I both of them personal development, because personal development is not a one-day thing or a someday when I feel like a thing or a maybe tomorrow thing. It's an everyday thing. I mean, I already want to make this clear. If you ever want to reach anywhere close to your potential, the only way in my mind is when you develop yourself, personal growth on a daily basis, intentionally. That word intentionally you should remember, because I'm going to come back to that. We've all got good intentions, by the way, and what happens to them. But so I started my life in the oil industry, in the inspection, became very good at it. I quite enjoyed it. But you know, sometimes and I talk to many people here already who've got that, who make their heart sing, but you've got that little voice inside of you that talks to you. Now, so many people try to neglect that, or try to put it on the side because, oh, this is all there is to life. No, this is all the choices you made, and that's why the life you've got. See, sometimes I can be quite tough, but we have choices. The only thing is sometimes we are not aware of it. And I was in my coaching, I did a 2-day workshop in the last 2 days with Arti, my wife, and I talked into the coaching aspect as well, and says awareness gives you choices. So it is true what they say, you don't know what you don't know. But some people just don't want to know. And even if they heard something, they want to keep away from it because they don't want to make decisions for their life and then blame everything around them for the things that are going wrong in their lives. So I kept developing myself, and I spent quite often 10 months of the year in hotel rooms. People think it's lovely. 2 to 3 weeks, wonderful. 10 months, nah, not so much anymore. I knew the menu inside out, and you've got 4 white walls that you're suffering and sitting in. So half my luggage I used to take with me was books. And even now we've got all the fancy gadgets, I would still have, in fact, I've got a book line on my table right now with little bits in it, because I like working with books and underlining and taking bits out of it. And I'm not, I know iPads and all these kind of things can do it as well, but half my luggage was books. And so I used to do a lot of studying. I do leadership, personal development, coaching. Eventually, only 2 years ago, I went into self-care as well, because I thought, I want to add to the world. My heart sings because I want to make a difference. My heart sings because I have felt significance. And I'm going to come to that right now, where that started happening and where I finally understood it. So at some point, you know, that voice inside of you, you're either going to neglect it and then you live with regret, or you're going to do something about it. And yes, you might live with some failures, but looking back in life, what is worse, living with some failures that you didn't achieve everything you wanted to set out to do, or live with regret because if only I had, on your deathbed, when you say, if only I had, and I bet you it doesn't say, oh, if only I'd spent more time in the office. Oh, yeah. No, but think about it. And I got it from Les Brown one time. He says, when you lie on your deathbed, you've only got a few hours to live. And these ghosts of your ideas, your vision, your dreams, all the skills you have in you and you never did anything with, these ghosts are looking at you and says, these were yours and yours alone, and what have you done with them? It is too late. You're going to take those to the grave with you. And as we might have heard before, the richest place on the world is not the diamond mines in South Africa, or the gold mines in South Africa, or the diamond mines, or the oil fields in the Middle East, or the stock exchanges around the world. No, unfortunately, the richest place is the graveyard. Because that's where many people, because they never opened their heart and made their heart sing, that's where they took all their stuff, because they were all going to do it tomorrow or one day. There's a beautiful poem, it's called Someday I'll, and you can find it, Google it, because it talks into someday I'll do this, and it never happens, because I always wake up in the morning and my heart already starts singing, because the first thing I say to myself, I'm blessed and highly favored. I used to walk into work on a Monday morning and sing and whistle. And people say, what are you so happy about? They say, well, wait till I tell you. Say, the best thing to me happened that I ever could think about. And I thought, well, and I said, if it was any better, I think the deck was stacked. So now these people are excited. What happened? What happened? They say, I woke up. And then they say, oh, is that all? Is that all? It says the last time you wake up, then tomorrow it's not going to happen anymore. So that was yesterday. So we need to be grateful. We need to be more grateful for everything we have. And it's difficult in a lot of situations, but we've always got something to be grateful for, because we woke up when many people didn't. So when that voice became louder and louder, all of a sudden I got an opportunity to go to help start the transformation of an entire country. Now, John Maxwell, I'm also an executive director in the Maxwell leadership team. And John Maxwell said, before that, and it never made any sense to me, once you have tasted significance, success will never be enough. Now, I want to say that because I had no idea. I had no idea what the difference was until I went to Guatemala. It was not about the fact that we, in 3 days, we trained 19,000 people to become facilitators in something that both Arthur and me are specialists in now, values-based leadership. It is not because we happened to be there, but it is when I finally got there, I realized what the difference was. I felt it, I experienced it, I saw it, and so much so that on the way home, I quit my job. And as I said, I never hated my job, but I knew Jan Robberts had to do more. And I finally found that last piece in my jigsaw puzzle. And it was a case of, if not now, when? Because we keep making, we keep having good reasons, which are really excuses. We keep making excuses why we cannot do certain things in life. So, and as if not me, who? And if not this, what else? So for me, it was a no-brainer. I quit my job. I needed to work another year before I could do that. But again, once you shut some doors, other ones open. And sometimes we are so busy looking at a door that just shut behind us that we actually don't see the door that opens in front of us, and we forget to walk through it. And then we go back, oh, we'll find something else to do again. No, we all have, I know we've all got a why. They say, and it's another saying, and it's not a cliche, there's 2 days that are very important in your life. The day you were born, for obvious reasons, and the day you discover why. Now, your why is important because that you find that from your past emotions, and Simon Sinek wrote a wonderful book about it, Find Your Why. But I found my biggest why when I went to Guatemala. So I got much more out of that deal than the people there, even though they were grateful and Guatemala was changing. And there's a lot of stories behind transformational countries, but it was about values. And it was about the fact that I found significance, and the difference between success and significance, which I found out there. Success is for yourself. You know, there's many successful people who are empty. There's billionaires who die and they're empty inside because they never had significance. And the good thing is significance is for somebody else. Now, if you put your mind on somebody else, they say if you've got problems, focus on somebody else's problem and help other people, because that way your problems don't seem so bad anymore. And that for me was very powerful because it is very true. But when I came back from there, you know, there was a photo there, and I talked about it in my training today, about 4 orphans who came and sit close to me. And it still gives me goosebumps when I think about it. But when I felt that, what I wanted to do is I said, now I've got it. I want people to feel significant. And the good thing is, significance has nothing to do with wealth, has nothing to do with where you come from, has nothing to do with your culture, has nothing to do with age. It has to do with, can you do something on a daily basis, or try it sometimes, to do something for somebody else? And what is that feeling you get? You know, you don't do it to have that feeling, but you know, when you help enough other people, things start coming back for you. And when you start helping other people, when you start making a difference in other people's lives, you cannot describe that. There is coaches here, I know that. There is people who make a difference. I mean, even with the worming, the awards you get, it's recognition for doing well. And I mean, I call them accolades because, you know, we recognize ourselves that we do something different, but it is wonderful when other people also see that you do something different. We don't do it because of that. But your heart will never sing if you keep focusing on the money and keep chasing the mighty dollar or the mighty pound or the euro, whatever currency. Your heart will never sing. I mean, you might think you're happy and you've got all these goals that you want the big house and the big car, and eventually you get them. I spoke to a lady the other day and she says, I had achieved what I wanted to achieve. I had a big job and a big car, and all of a sudden COVID started happening and I lost my job. And I was lost, completely lost, because I just didn't know. And I said, well, at least it showed you that happiness is not a destination. Happiness is the journey we live every single day. And we can't be happy every day, despite the problems we have, because, you know, yes, you get problems. Yes, you can fall down. But Les Brown also said, I love this. If you fall down, make sure you fall on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And that is the thing. Don't stay down. 22 years ago, something happened in my life that took me to my knees. A death of somebody very close, very unexpected, and very young. It took me to my knees. Now, I know that, and it affected all my friends around me. But what happened was, because of everything I developed in myself, I got back up. I know there would be people in a lesser situation that would have stayed down. And that is a choice. I mean, how we don't need to stay on our knees. But it will be very much more worthwhile if we can make our heart sing. If we can do something that speaks, you know, I said to people when I left my job, they thought I was crazy because I was destined for greatness, whatever that looks like, probably a title and more money, which neither motivates me, by the way. Now, I don't say we shouldn't have money. Arthur and me talked on the way home in the car in traffic, and I said, oh, we're quite happy to become a billionaire, because money is only a tool, and you can do a lot more good with money than without it. That shouldn't stop you doing any good if you have no money, by the way. Don't make it as another excuse. But we all need to find this. And when I found that significance, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to get other people to feel that significance, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that if people get a feeling of significance, they want to do more, and they find they're on their journey. If it's not exactly what they want, they're on that journey of making their heart sing, but making all the hearts around them sing, like a choir and a Welsh choir in a big arena. And when all the hearts sing together, you're gonna get the most beautiful music you make together. You know, so it's a passion. And you might have noticed already. I mean, I'm very slow just now. When I really get going, I say twice as much in 30 minutes. By the way, but I mean, I am sitting down and I'm fairly calm, even though that some people think I'm still going too fast. But it is because I am so passionate about making a difference in this life. And it's not about me. Artie and myself talk about this, about what is the point in just leaving a legacy. Yeah, it's a good start, don't get me wrong. But why don't we just live a legacy? And the only way you're going to do that is to start something right now. And now I'm going to get back to that word intentionality. See, because yes, we've all had good intentions. I'm pretty sure that everyone's had them, and maybe you've had them today. Did anything come of it? Maybe not. Maybe so, but that's a maybe. So the difference between good intentions and living intentionally, and I do a talk about intentionality, the present we give to ourselves, because we know the saying that the roads are paved with good intentions, but people who do something, who have got good intentions, do something good maybe occasionally, but people who live an intentional life do something good continually. Which one would you rather have? Which one do you think is going to make the biggest difference in your life? Which one do you think will get you anywhere close to making your heart sing? And I mean, the answer is very obvious, of course, because otherwise your heart might splutter every now and then if you do something good occasionally. But if you wanted to sing a song continually, and you can fine tune that song as you go along, whether it's a song out of the 60s or 70s, or whether it's a much newer one, whether it's one of the Beach Boys or whatever it is. What is the song inside of you? What makes you sing without a noise coming out of your mouth? But I mean, the fact that you have a spring in your step and you say, yes, I want to make sure that I wake up tomorrow because I want to do more of this. And to being always always happens before doing. So there's a thing. And that's why I think I talk into values as well. People say values. And I say, you know, what are your values? What is your value system? And people look at me with a stare. In Scottish, we say it's a glaiked look. That doesn't mean a stare that you haven't got a clue what somebody's on about. You know that look like a deer in the headlights. You go, okay, but we can all find something, because I talk about it in leadership, and people say, "Oh, leadership, oh, that's for them." And when I talk about values, leave me alone. It's on the walls in our company, but we don't know what we're talking about. But values. Leadership is failing around the world because of a lack of values. There is a lot of songs dying in people's heads, in people's hearts, because they have no value system that they can look up to, that they wouldn't compromise with. And that's a big problem in the world. And people say, oh yeah, and you can probably mention a few major leaders at the moment that fall in that trap. But then I say, hold on a minute. We are all leaders. See, leadership starts with self-leadership, hence self-leadership strategies. And self-leadership is always the only way you're going to get anywhere close is personal development. So it starts with personal development. Now, values are part of the personal development. Self-care is part of that personal development. And personal development is huge anyway. But what are you doing on a daily basis? What does your personal development plan look like? Because if you haven't got one, then maybe you should look into it and create one. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to watch TED Talks and watch summits like this all day, every day. You can watch it for 3 days at least. You know, and this is day 3 already. But what does it do for you? What do you need to do? Maybe 5 minutes in the morning, watch a TED Talk, because don't switch your news on when you get out of bed and then wonder why you've got a bad day. That's why you've got a bad day. Listen to some of the music we've had here. We've got plenty of choice. Upbeat music, listen to a TED Talk, listen to a motivational speaker, do all these kind of things, read something positive, but start the day well, intentionally. So you need to find out what are your values, because values are the foundation of life. Values are the foundation we can build any heart song on. But without values, most of these songs will die with us in the grave. Or they start the song and halfway through the record, oh, now I'm talking old language, halfway through the MP4, the music dies because your laptop stops or your electronic gadget stops. And I'm talking mentally, basically. But that's what's going to happen. Maybe that'll understand that better, because halfway through you get a scratch on your disc and you can't go any further. That's old style music. But you need to find out also what would give you significance in life. What are the values that you will never compromise on? And those are basic human values, like connection, listening, forgiveness, restraint, respect, developing people, valuing people, hope. Now, hope is a big one. See, at a time like this, you can give hope to people, and that doesn't only make your own heart sing, but that makes everybody's heart around you sing. A positive attitude will already do that. Have you ever been around people who are miserable and you can't get away from them quickly enough? I've been around them, and that's a decision. Now, please don't get me wrong. I don't say you should discard those kind of people, because don't ever throw people away. But you will have to make a decision whether you spend less time around them. Charlie Tremendous Jones said 3 things before he passed away, and he always said that, but unfortunately he's passed away, and everything to him was tremendous. Wonderful guy, met him a few times, but he said there's 3 things that will govern most of the rest of your life. The things you read, the things you hear, the people you associate with. Now, when you think of that, some of you might need to change one, but some of you might also need to change all 3 of them. And that's a choice. You know, what are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Who are you associating with? What are you reading? Are you reading the newspaper from cover to cover? Now, I stopped buying newspapers more than 35 years ago. Don't I know what's going on? Of course I know. I said, if it's important enough, somebody will tell me. Ooh, I saw that. Irma, I saw that. You know, but make sure that you can change today. See, you can't change the past, but you're not a tree. So if you don't like where you're at, move. And that's not move, that's move. So if you want to make a decision that you want to make your heart sing, if you want to make a decision, first and foremost, find out some of the values that you will never compromise on, because values are the foundation of life, they're the foundation of business, they're the foundation of your social environment, and that includes leadership, of course. So what will you not compromise on? Because we're talking about not talking the talk, we're talking about walking the walk. So what kind of walk will you walk so people will get inspired? Because you've heard it, people do business with those they know, like, and trust. Are you trustworthy? How can people like you? How can they get to know you? Open yourself up, talk about yourself, be vulnerable, but have those values. And all you need to do is have a pen and paper, the old-fashioned way, because writing down does much more for you, because you remember it more, and start writing out the things that you would never compromise on. And some of the things that are valuable too, it might not be a value per se, but like family, that's of value of you. You would never compromise on your family. So it's not always values per se, but they're basic human values. Arthur wrote the value of compassion. Now, how does compassion speak to you? And would you do anything else than be compassionate? And that makes your heart sing. If you're a compassionate person, that makes your heart sing. But I can talk about values, I can talk about compassion, I can talk about leadership, and I can certainly talk about significance. But what would you do? What are you willing to give up to find that feeling of significance? What are you willing to give up, and what are you willing to start doing? Because there's 2 things that we need to remember. Change is always around us. Change is always within us. We never stay there. We either go up or we go down. So the day you think you did nothing, I know where you're going. Down. So I think, put your climbing boots on and you decide how steep that hill is. But success is always uphill. And significance is a very much lesser slope, because you can go out of your door today. You might not even have to go out of the door, but you can start that process today. What are you willing to do for somebody else that they cannot do themselves? What are you willing to do for somebody else who cannot repay you or who cannot thank you, and maybe they don't even know that you did it? Significance. It starts in the heart. And if you are intentional, and that means don't just write stuff down and shut the book, because we've all had wonderful books with, those with exercises in that you say, I'll do them later because I want to read. I've done that. And then you put them on the shelf. I call it shelf development instead of self-development. That doesn't count. We need to take action. I saw this earlier, knowledge is power. Unfortunately, I disagree with that, because otherwise every librarian would be skinny, rich, and happy. Think about that one. So, and now we've got access to our fingertips. So how come we are not powerful if we've all got access to our to Google, Mr. Google, and all these kind of things? No, knowledge acted upon is power. And then I would go even further. My alarm went off as well. But even further, knowledge acted upon and then evaluated every day. So here is something else you can do to make every day better. First of all, the only way we can guarantee that tomorrow will be better if we do something to develop ourselves today, not our neighbors, not everybody else, and we can't wait for anybody else. We need to develop ourselves on a day. So if you want to make sure that tomorrow is better, at the end of the day, evaluate yourself, ask yourself 4 simple questions. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What should I improve on? And what should I never do again? That is the experience. You can guarantee that tomorrow already will be better. Simple. I'm a simple kind of guy. I don't make it complicated. But if you ever want to live a life of significance, if you ever want to make sure that that dash, you know, the gravestone, that little dash in between, that it matters. If you all matter, but we can all matter more, and we make sure that other people find they matter too. So find out what your values are. You know, instill those values in yourself and in your family, and know that you never go outside of them. And I got the red light, I spotted it, and I'll be tidying down. But all I want to say is, you know, that there is so much more. Of course, we can say about this, but there is so many other things I could have said, and I don't know why it went this way. But you can start to live a legacy rather than just leave one. All you need to do is just open your heart, make it sing your song. But always remember, and that's a quote that comes from the values-based leadership program, transformation begins with me. What are you willing to change to make sure that your heart sings and that you start living a legacy today? Thank you.
Whoa, Jan, that was like a fire hose. Like so much information. Oh my gosh, love it so much. I need to know top 3 favorite books right now.
Top 3 things?
Top 3 favorite books.
Top 3 favorite. Well, I've just read one actually, and it's called Change Your World. That's where the bits are in. It's favorite because it talks into the values. It talks into this process that we've been involved with for the last 9 years. Change Your World is one of them. I mean, I've got a lot of favorite books. Another one is, again, by John Maxwell, and it's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, because in my mind, that's one of the best personal development book. It's got exercises on every chapter. I've even done a video series on and I want to tell people, do the exercises. The first chapter, strangely enough, is the law of intentionality. And there you go. The third book. Oh, the third book. But the one that comes to mind just now is Intentional Living. It is again, it talks into what I do, and it talks into the way we live. And I think everybody should live that way. So if they can get the development right, the personal development, if they can start living intentionally, whatever that looks like for everybody, I think we'll go. I mean, I love so many books. I've got well over 1,000, but you know, there is a lot of books I love, because it's not just the fact that it's a book, but the information that has helped me to become the person I am so far. And I'm not done by a long shot.
I've got to say, I love hearing you speak, Jan, and also as someone who has a very special and invaluable person in my life, being my wife, I think it's just so cool to hear you speaking and your wife in the chat, you know, sharing her thoughts. I'm wondering if we can bring Artie on right now and just, you know, kind of talk about, you know, what is it like to work together, and you know, how do you kind of complement it and make this partnership work?
Oh, I'm sure she'll come on just now. And we actually, for the last 2 days, and that's why we're stuck in traffic. So we're glad we came back in time. But we just did 2 days of presentation skills training. And well, Artie will tell you, working together is a joy. But Artie, I'll leave it to you.
Hi everybody. I just think it's phenomenal working with such a beautiful soul. It's a privilege, actually. There's not many times that people get to interact and connect with somebody at the soul level. And I think that is what yin is for me. The balance, the yin yang that we both deserve in our lives. And the fact that we value the same things and we've got a powerful vision to impact people together makes it even more humbling to be together. But thank you for the question.
My pleasure. And honestly, those who know me know that I often have tears coming to my eyes, and I definitely do right now, just because, I know there's a whole lot behind what you just said and what we just witnessed in the relationship that you two have. Just to have someone like that where you feel that complementary force and that kind of synchronicity. I mean, it's just beautiful to see, and I'm really, really grateful that we have the opportunity to witness that here in this summit, because it really represents, what the Senior Heart Song Summit is all about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will turn the time back over to Jan, and Mark has got a question.
Thank you. Jan, your comment about don't let the ghost of what might have been hover around your deathbed, that resonated with me, although I didn't say it in those words, but it was one of the reasons I started my company, Green Thumb at Your Service, because I decided, number one, that the only way I was going to be happy is to strike out on my own and get away from corporate America. And number two, I made the decision that no matter what, even if it eventually became a miserable failure, when I'm 80 years old, I'll be able to look back and say, I tried that and it didn't work, but I know that, as opposed to, gee, I wonder what would have happened if, but now I'll never know. So yeah, when you said that, that resonated with me. And so thank you for bringing that up.
And thank you for bringing that up as well, Mark, because I listened to you yesterday as well. And it's inspiring because it's inspiring. People say to me sometimes, who inspires you? And they know I work with people like Les Brown and John Maxwell and Nick Vujicic. And people say, what inspires you? And they expect some big kind of, well, there's big people who inspire me. But what really inspires me more than anything is, and I don't say this lightly, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. People going out of their way to do what their heart tells them to do. And when I thought about it yesterday when you said it, and I thought, wow, how many people would have stuck where they were because of the money, of the corporate background, or the title, or the beautiful car park space in a nice office maybe. How many people would have kept making excuses rather than doing what you and I both have done? We said, if not now, we need to do this, because you said it as well. You could have stayed there, but you would never been happy. And when you were talking yesterday, you were smiling in your talk, and I thought, okay, there's a man who's happy with what he does. So that's another inspiration to me. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're actually one of the most inspirational quotes, and another motivation for me came from none other than an old country singer. He said, "Find something you love to do so much that you do it for nothing. Then do it so well they'll pay you." And I'm like, yes, I'm stealing that. That's mine from now on.
And until today, I didn't know it was a country singer who said it, because I've heard Les Brown say that so often. He uses that quote. So now I know it came from a country singer.
Yes, it was none other than Whispering Bill Anderson.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Kathy, over to you.
Oh, Jan, thank you. Oh my gosh, I was like Steph, I weep too. I just wanted to say significance over success. Wow, I heard that and I felt that. And that's what I feel like. I feel like, not that I'm not successful, I'm successful, but significance is what I'm doing. I feel like that's, I wasn't able to label it before. I didn't label, I mean, that's not the right word. Yeah. Significance. Wow, that's it. That's it. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. I loved your talk. It was so riveting, and you're a wonderful orator. And I've heard a lot of those messages before, but you package them in such a wonderful way. And as Steph said, having Arthi, I'm sorry, you know, with just kind of repeating in the chat. Oh, beautiful magic. Thank you.
And thank you too. And I mean, inspirational when you said about Guatemala as well. I thought, that's where it was life changing, not just life enhancing. It was life changing for me. The beautiful people of Guatemala, and they will always be close to my heart. And it will happen in June, so it was 9 years ago last month. So, but thank you as well because of all the stuff you do, and with Arthi as well. I mean, I feel very fortunate. We actually met at leadership training in Orlando 8 years ago now. So we became business partners first, then we became friends, and the 1st of May we were actually married 1 year. But it's a blessing to have that opportunity, because we both have a vision of changing and impacting millions of lives, and that's where our talk together started. And I talked about values in 2014 with her, and that inspired her, and you know, we keep inspiring each other, because she's also a powerful speaker. And they call us a power couple sometimes. She's at the moment writing The Compassionate Leader of Influence, a book, and it's nearly done. And well, this is her. She is compassion. She is the diversity and inclusion specialist for the last 24 years. Obviously, she started when she was 2, you know. But I mean, that means I married very young. Okay, well, 12 then. Okay, but you know, it's wonderful that, and I know people notice this, but I mean, we play in so well into each other, and we complement each other so well that in the trainings as well. I mean, Arthi fills up what I've said, and then when she has this part of the training, and I come in there, and the people love it. That there's 2 different people. Our speeches are very different, but powerful in different ways, and that's not me saying that. That's people have said this. So. I'm always grateful to have 24/7 with a person that inspires me right at home. She's my coach. She's my ass kicker, pardon my French. She actually guides me as well. So, and I really appreciate that too. So, you know, we're just blessed. Yeah.
Ahmed, it looks like you're up.
Ahmed, my friend from Nigeria.
Hello.
Hi, Ahmed.
Hello. Good evening to you all. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ahmed.
Yeah, wow, that's perfect. Good evening to you all. I just went to add something little and send my appreciation to entire team members of Key Leadership Institute. The testimony is all about from the time I started joining the Key Leadership Institute to date. It's changed my life. It entirely changed my life and my focus and determination. I remember last year before COP26, I'm so very proud of that, because it entirely changed my life after I spent more time in Glasgow. And after I came back to Nigeria, I started expanding my project, my community project. Always give reference to John Roberts and the Mora, because of the kind of training that they give to me, and I give back to my society. Every day, I'm very proud of you, and I pray for Key Leadership Institute and entire member of Key Leadership Institute for continue uplifting the life of less privilege, especially we Africans, because most of us are left behind. I'm so very happy for you, and I pray for you more success. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here, Ahmed, because I know how much of a struggle it is for you in North Nigeria to have access. But for everybody who's listening in, Ahmed is another person who makes his heart sing, because what he does in his communities, and he wants to help, especially women and children in his community. He's also always needing support from the outside. he's traveled a fair bit because of his passion for making a difference to the youth of his province, especially where so many millions of children don't get a chance of education. So, I mean, he inspired me, and again, Ahmed, thank you for those kind words. You're doing the work that you do, and I'm just happy to add a little bit to it here and there, and I look forward to speaking on your training on Sunday. So we'll speak then, but really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Ahmed, and thank you for all the work that you're doing. And now we're up to Catherine.
Thanks, Steph. So I'm going to piggyback on what Mark spoke about in terms of what you spoke about, Jan. In the beginning, you shared the quote on your deathbed, what have you done with your gifts? And on your deathbed, what have you done with your gifts? And often when I've heard someone talk about deathbed, what landed for me, what I heard them say was, who have you touched? You didn't care about your job. You know, you're going to not care about your job, but you're going to care about the people. And I always think of family. I always think of family. And I always don't get pulled into that. I mean, I've got a son, I've got some family members, I have some friends, and they all matter. My son matters to me totally. But thinking about what have I done with my gifts, that resonates with who I am. I don't want to be on my deathbed and not have fulfilled what I am here to fulfill. And that, yes, it's about touching other people. And I'll talk about that. I'm going to present next. I'll be talking about that. You'll hear me. But it's something else. This giving the gifts, it's the giving of them that is what I don't want to have them. I don't want them still being inside of me when I get there. So thank you for the question, for sharing that question.
And thank you for sharing that with us. And that's very important. And again, a great statement. I don't want to have these gifts still in me when they should be coming out. So yeah, thank you for the reminder.
Gunther, you have your hand up. Go for it.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say I know Jan and Artie very well. I work with them quite often. And as always, very passionate and very compassionate talkers. And, you know, everything that Jan says, if you just listen, there is just so much to learn in that speech, because compassionate leaders, that's what these people are. And I love being part of this group. And I always make an effort to try and get onto these talks, because Jan talks with so much compassion and passion, and it excites me as well. Thank you very much. Great talk.
Well, thank you, my friend. And having been in South Africa for quite a while, Gunther became my best man at the wedding. So yeah, and a great supporter, and we appreciate it, but also another man who makes his heart sing. And, you know, these people don't come together here for a coincidence, because Gunther has got a passion, and he's got an NPO where he, in fact, next week he's doing a global fundraiser through the UK for his passion to get 14 million children here a proper education, because they are not getting it. So that, I mean, that's a huge heart and a huge passion. And I know when Gunther talks into that, he's been building this momentum for years now. And you know, we have the pleasure of listening to that all the time. So we are really surrounded by people with greatness inside of them. And the good thing, as Catherine said as well, it's not just inside of them, it's coming out. And we have the blessing to watch this unfold with Gunther, as well as everybody else around here, having we're so different, yet we've got a common passion. We want to make a difference in this world. We don't want to go into the grave just doing our own stuff. And that's where our heart all sings. Everyone has got a song in their heart, and it's singing louder and louder all the time. And that's just a great blessing. Thank you. Thank you, Gunther.
You know, they say there are no coincidences, and that everyone who comes in your life is there for a reason, and that you have lessons to learn. And some people will come into your life and they're only there for a week, and others come into your life and they're there for a moment. But the impact is so powerful that they will last with you and stay with you for the rest of your life. And Jan, I want to say, I am sure we are going to connect again in the future, some of us with you. Thank you so much, you and your wonderful wife, Arthi, for the work you're doing. And of course, I'm working with youth, so hearing just my words resonating and coming out of your mouth the same way I would be saying it, I was thinking, wow, he is making a powerful bam into this world. You are going to create a crater of influence where people will flock to. And I am so grateful you are here today, Jan. Thank you.
And thank you, Irma, Steph, and Olivia for allowing me that privilege, because it is a privilege and I don't take it lightly. That's why I certainly prepare for this and make sure that we add value in any way we can. And of course, having three, that we know of, three people from South Africa, amongst yourself also being from South Africa. So they don't know that, of course, but yes, you are also South African. So there we go. We're amongst you. Thank you very much.